The last transport ship groaned as it lifted away from the dying world below. Captain Day stood at the window watching Earth grow smaller. The planet looked sick, brown where it should be green, gray where it should be blue. Smoke covered everything like a dirty blanket. "Sir, we have cleared the atmosphere," said Navigator So-Min from her control station. Her voice was tired. Everyone was tired. They had been working for months to get the ships ready. Day nodded but did not look away from the window. Behind them, Earth was dying. The oceans were poisoned. The air was too thick to breathe in many places. The forests were gone. Humanity had to leave or die with their homeworld. "How many ships made it out?" Day asked. 46 other transports launched successfully, So-Min replied. Each one carrying about 300,000 people. We are the last ship to leave. The captain felt heavy inside his chest. Nearly 15 million people had escaped Earth, but that was only a tiny part of humanity. Billions more had stayed behind. Some could not leave, others chose not to. Many simply had no way to get to the transport ships in time. "Where are the other ships going?" Day asked. So-Min checked her data screen. "Different directions, sir. The plan was to spread out across the galaxy. That way, if something happens to some of us, others might survive. Ship New Hope is heading toward a world called Kepler 442b. Ship Iron Will is going to a planet near the Wolf Star system. Ship Blue Dream found a water world 40 light-years away." Day understood. It was smart to spread out, but it also meant they might never see each other again. The distances were too great. Communication would be impossible after a while. Their own ship Last Dawn was heading toward a planet the scientists called Promising. It had the right size, the right distance from its star, and might have water. The journey would take many years, even with their fastest engines. As weeks passed into months, life on the ship settled into routines. People worked, ate, slept, and tried not to think too much about the home they had lost. Children were born during the journey. Some of the older people died before they reached their destination. Life continued, even in the emptiness between stars. When they finally arrived, the new world was better than they had hoped. It had blue skies, clean water, and strange but beautiful plants that grew like crystal trees. The colonists named it Sarang, which meant love in their old language. Years passed, then decades, then centuries. The people of Sarang learned to work with their new world. They discovered that the crystal plants could be used to make amazing medicines. They built cities that grew like gardens, mixing human technology with the planet's natural beauty. Dr. Su Jin, great-great-granddaughter of one of the original colonists, could make plants that glowed in the dark or trees that grew into perfect house shapes. Far away, on a world they called Ironhold, different descendants of Earth faced different challenges. Their planet was harsh, with metal mountains and red storms that lasted for weeks. The colonists had to be tough to survive. Park Jun-ho, whose ancestor had been a soldier on Earth, led a people who had learned to fight not just the planet, but to fight with honor and strength. On another world covered mostly by water, the Aboao, descendants of Ship Blue Dream, became master boat builders and negotiators. They learned to talk with the sea creatures that lived in their new oceans. Some of these creatures were intelligent and became friends with the humans. In the mining systems near the galaxy's edge, humans learned to pull metals and gems from floating rocks in space. They built ships that could work in the vacuum between worlds. Their children grew up floating in zero gravity, as comfortable in space as others were on solid ground. Each group of humans adapted to their new homes. Each world changed them in different ways. The people of Sarang became gentle and wise, learning to heal and grow things. The people of Ironhold became strong warriors and protectors. The Waterworld people became skilled diplomats and traders. The space miners became expert engineers and builders. But something was lost too. As generations passed, the different human colonies stopped talking to each other. The distances were too great, and they became busy with their own worlds and problems. Children grew up not knowing about the other human settlements among the stars. The story of Earth became legend, then myth, then almost forgotten. Some families kept old pictures of blue skies and green forests. Some remembered songs in the old languages, but many humans began to think of themselves as people of Sarang, or people of Ironhold, or people of the water world. They forgot they were all children of the same dying planet. They forgot they were all human. The galaxy was vast and full of many different species. Most of them were peaceful, concerned with their own affairs. But in the deep regions of space, something ancient and hungry was beginning to stir. Something that saw the scattered human colonies as weak and divided. Something that would soon teach humanity what it truly meant to be one people, no matter how far apart they had grown. The scattered seeds of Earth had taken root across the galaxy. Soon they would learn whether they had grown strong enough to survive what was coming. The message came in the middle of the night on Ironhold. Commander Hei-Wan was sleeping when her communication device started making urgent sounds. She rolled out of bed and pressed the answer button. The voice was broken and filled with static. This is Colony Ship Hope's Light from... We are under attack. Massive ships. They are taking our people. Please help. Then nothing, but silence. Hei-Wan sat up straight. She had never heard of Colony Ship Hope's Light before, but the voice spoke words she understood, even though the accent was strange. It sounded like the old Earth language her grandmother used to speak. She ran to the communication center. Her assistant Minwoo was already there, looking worried. "Commander, I have been getting messages like this all night," Minwoo said. 12 different signals from 12 different places in space. All asking for help. All speaking versions of our old language. Hei-Wan felt cold inside. Other humans? There are other humans out there? It seems so, Minwoo replied. But something is attacking them. Far across the galaxy, Fleet Commander Vorthak looked at his latest reports with satisfaction. His warships had conquered another primitive world. The creatures called themselves humans, and they had fought bravely, but they were no match for the Dominion's technology. "How many of these human worlds have we taken now?" he asked his second-in-command. 15, sir. They seem to be scattered across many star systems. Each world fights alone. They do not help each other. This makes them easy to defeat. Vorthak nodded. The Dominion had been conquering worlds for thousands of years. They were experts at finding weak species and making them slaves. These humans were just another primitive race that would serve the Dominion's empire. "Continue the expansion," Vorthak ordered. "Take all the human worlds. Use the strong ones as workers. The smart ones can serve in our factories. The rest, dispose of them." On the crystal world of Sarang, Dr. Sujin was working in her garden laboratory when the sky turned dark. She looked up and saw massive black ships blocking out the sun. They were bigger than anything she had ever seen, like floating cities made of metal and death. Alarms started sounding all over the colony. People were running and screaming. Sujin's assistant Young-ho burst into the laboratory. "Sujin, the ships are landing. They have soldiers that look like giant insects. They are capturing people." Sujin's hand shook as she quickly saved her research to the emergency data storage. If Sarang was going to fall, at least her discoveries about healing plants might survive to help other humans somewhere. "Young-ho, do we have any way to send a message to other worlds? Maybe if we can reach the communication tower." "But Sujin, what other worlds? We are alone out here." Sujin looked at her research files. She had spent years studying old Earth genetic codes found in the colonist DNA. The pattern suggested that humans had spread to many different worlds. "No," she said quietly. "I do not think we are alone." The building shook as the alien soldiers got closer. Sujin grabbed her most important data and ran with Young-ho toward the communication tower. On the water world of Pacifica, Admiral Hana watched her beautiful ships burn in space. The Dominion fleet had appeared without warning. Her vessels were built for trade and exploration, not war. They were no match for the alien warships. "Admiral," called her communications officer Do-hyun, "I am sending out emergency signals on all frequencies. Maybe someone will hear us." "Who would hear us?" Hana asked sadly. "We have been alone for so long." Do-hyun looked up from his controls with surprise. "Admiral, I am getting responses, dozens of them. They are all speaking. They are speaking like us. Hana rushed to the communication station. The signals were weak and broken by distance, but she could understand the words. They were from other human colonies, other groups of people who had come from Earth long ago. "This is Admiral Hana of Pacifica Colony," she broadcast. "We are under attack by unknown alien forces. Is anyone out there? Can anyone help?" The responses came slowly, crossing the vast distances between stars. Voices from worlds with names like Ironhold and New Eden and Crystal Falls. All human voices. All asking the same question. Who is attacking us? But Hana's ship was dying. The alien weapons were too powerful. As her vessel broke apart, she managed to send one last message. To all human colonies. We are family. We came from the same world. We must help each other. We are stronger together. The Dominion continued their advance world by world. They had conquered thousands of species before. They always used the same method. Attack each world separately, never let the enemy unite, make them feel hopeless and alone. It had always worked before. But the Dominion commanders did not understand something important about humans. They did not know that even after centuries apart, even after growing different and strange, humans still shared something deep inside, something that made them remember each other when danger came. They did not know that the emergency signals flying between human worlds were not just calls for help. They were calls to come home to each other. On Ironhold, Commander Haywan stood before her military council. On the big screen were star maps showing dozens of human colonies, some safe, some fallen, all finally talking to each other again. "Brothers and sisters," she said, using an old formal greeting. "We are not alone anymore, and we will not die alone either." The scattered children of Earth were waking up. They were remembering who they were, and they were angry. The meeting room on Ironhold had never been so full. Colonel Junho looked at the screens showing faces from dozens of different worlds. Some faces looked almost exactly like his people. Others had been changed by their planets. Paler skin from worlds with weak suns, or darker skin from worlds with strong light. But they all had the same eyes. Human eyes. "My name is Colonel Park Junho," he said to the assembled faces. 3 days ago, we thought we were the only humans left in the galaxy. Now we know there are at least 40 different human colonies. A woman's face appeared larger on the screen. "I am Dr. Minji from New Silicon. Our computers have been working day and night to decode all the emergency messages. We count 43 human worlds. 11 have already fallen to these aliens." An older man with scars on his face spoke up. "I am Captain Dongwook from the Outer Rim Miners. We have seen these alien ships. They are big and powerful, but they fight like they expect us to be afraid and confused. They attack one world at a time," added a young woman from the agricultural world of New Eden. "They think we cannot help each other because we are so far apart." Junho nodded. "They are wrong. We can help each other. But first, we need to understand something important." He paused and looked at all the faces on the screens. "We may live on different worlds now, but we are all family. We all came from the same place. We all carry the same blood." An elderly woman's face appeared. She looked very old, but her eyes were bright and strong. "My name is Sun Hee. I am 93 years old. I am one of the last people whose grandparents actually lived on Earth. Let me tell you something about family." Everyone listened carefully. Elder voices commanded respect in all human cultures. "When I was a little girl," Sun Hee continued, "my grandmother told me stories about Earth. She said that before we came to the stars, all humans lived together on one world. We fought sometimes, yes. We had different languages and different ways of living. But when danger came, we always remembered we were one people." She smiled at the camera. "The aliens think they scattered us and made us weak, but they do not understand. We were not scattered. We were planted, like seeds in a garden. And now it is time for those seeds to grow together." On New Silicon, engineer Minji worked with her team to set up better communication systems between the human worlds. The old emergency radios were too slow and weak. They needed something faster. Minji, called her partner Jae-hwan from across the laboratory. I think I found something interesting. Look at these communication patterns. Minji looked at the data on his screen. That is strange. All the human colonies are using similar communication methods even though we have not talked to each other for centuries. Exactly, Jae-hwan said excitedly. It is like we all developed technology in the same direction. Even apart, we still think like humans. On the farming world of New Eden, militia leader In-ho gathered his people in the town center. These were not soldiers, just farmers and teachers and shopkeepers, but they had all volunteered to fight. Friends, In-ho said, we have lived peaceful lives here. We grow food and raise children and watch the seasons change. But now we must do something. Else, we must remember that we are not just farmers. We are humans, and humans protect each other. A young mother raised her hand. In-ho, how can we fight alien warships? We have farming tools and hunting rifles. In-ho smiled. We have something better. We have each other, and we have friends on other worlds who know how to fight. That night, the first joint planning session took place across 43 human worlds. Engineers from New Silicon shared weapon designs with warriors from Ironhold. Farmers from New Eden offered to grow food for refugee camps. Miners from the Outer Rim promised to provide materials for building ships. But the most important thing that happened was simpler. The humans began to remember. On Sarang, a young girl named So Young found an old book in her grandmother's house. It contained songs written in the Old Earth language. She did not understand all the words, but when she sang the melody, other people began to sing along. They had never heard the song before, but somehow they knew it. On Ironhold, warriors who had spent their lives training for battle discovered that their fighting styles were similar to combat methods used on other human worlds. Even separated by centuries and vast distances, humans had developed the same ways of protecting themselves. On the water world of Pacifica, shipbuilders found that their best designs looked almost identical to ships built on other worlds. Human minds, it seemed, solved problems in human ways no matter where they lived. The Dominion had made their first big mistake. They thought destroying human worlds one by one would make the remaining humans afraid and hopeless. Instead, it made them angry and determined. Commander Vorthak received reports from his scouts about increased communication between human worlds. He was not worried. Let them talk, he told his officers. Talking will not save them. They are still scattered across the galaxy. They are still weak and primitive. Continue the attacks. But his intelligence officers were starting to notice something strange. The human colonies were not acting like defeated enemies anymore. They were acting like a single organism that had been sleeping and was now waking up. The scattered seeds of Earth were sprouting, and they were growing toward each other, reaching across the darkness of space to remember what they had always been. One people, one family, one very dangerous enemy that the Dominion was about to meet. The meeting point was a forgotten star system at the edge of nowhere. 3 dead planets circled a dying sun, and no one had ever bothered to name it. But now it was about to become the most important place in human history. Admiral Hana stood on the bridge of her new ship, United Hope, and watched the greatest sight she had ever seen. Ships were arriving from every direction, sleek vessels from New Silicon, heavy battle cruisers from Ironhold, swift raiders from the Outer Rim colonies. Each ship was different, built with the knowledge and materials of its home world. Together, they looked like nothing the galaxy had ever seen before. Fleet status report, Hana requested from her new crew. Her officers came from a dozen different worlds but worked together as if they had trained for years. Captain So Young checked her displays. 239 ships confirmed, Admiral. Ironhold sent 20 battle cruisers. New Silicon provided 30 electronic warfare ships. New Eden brought supply vessels loaded with food and medicine. The mining colonies sent their toughest ships. And crew numbers? 52,000 people, Admiral, from 34 different human worlds. Hana nodded, but her face stayed serious. Against a Dominion fleet of over 3,000 ships. Yes, Admiral, but we have something they do not expect. In the fleet's main meeting area, something amazing was happening. Colonel Junho from Ironhold was teaching combat tactics to officers who had never fought a war. Dr. Su-jin, rescued from fallen Sarang, was showing people how to make weapons from plant materials. Engineer Minji from New Silicon was explaining stealth technology that could hide entire ships from enemy sensors. The most surprising thing was how well they all worked together. Despite growing up on different worlds with different cultures, they understood each other perfectly. When Junho explained a battle formation, everyone knew exactly what he meant. When Su-jin showed them bioweapon samples, the other scientists immediately understood how to improve them. "It is remarkable," said Dr. Chang Min, the fleet's scientist who studied alien life forms. "I have analyzed DNA from all our colonies. After 300 years apart, we are still the same species. More than that, we still think the same way." The planning went on for days. Each world shared what they knew best. The mining colonies had studied Dominion ships up close and knew their weak points. The farming worlds understood how the aliens gathered supplies. The warrior worlds had developed new fighting techniques. The peaceful worlds had learned how to predict what the aliens would do next. But the most important sharing happened in the evening, when work was done. Around tables in the ship dining areas, humans from different worlds told stories about their homes. They sang songs their grandparents had taught them. They shared food recipes and childhood games. Grandmother Sun-hee, now 94, and the oldest person in the fleet, spoke to the assembled crews on the night before battle. "My children," she said, her voice carrying to every ship through the communication system. "I want to tell you what I see when I look at this fleet." She paused, looking out at the ships floating in space around her. "I see the dreams of our ancestors. When they left dying Earth, they hoped their children would survive and grow strong. They scattered us like seeds because they knew that was the only way humanity could continue." Her voice grew stronger. "Those seeds grew into trees. Strong trees, each one different and special. But today, those trees have grown so tall that their branches touch each other again. We are a forest now, and forests are very hard to cut down." Meanwhile, Dominion scouts had detected the human fleet and reported back to Fleet Commander Vorthak. He looked at the numbers with amusement. 200 primitive ships against our entire battle armada? He laughed. "These humans learn nothing from defeat. Send 3 battle groups to destroy them. Make it quick and complete." But some of Vorthak's intelligence officers were not so confident. They had been studying the human colonies for months, and something worried them. "Sir," one analyst said carefully, "these humans are not fighting like the scattered colonies we conquered before. They are coordinated, they share information and resources. They seem to be working as one unified force." Vorthak dismissed the concern. "Impossible. We have been conquering species for thousands of years. Primitives always panic when they are attacked. These humans are no different." But the analyst was right to be worried. In the human fleet, something unprecedented was happening. Crews from different worlds were mixing languages in real time, creating new words that everyone understood. Technical terms from New Silicon were combining with military phrases from Ironhold. Cultural expressions from farming worlds were blending with space terminology from mining colonies. It was as if the scattered branches of humanity were growing back together, becoming one tree again. Engineer Minji noticed it first. "Look at this," she told her partner Jae-hwan. "Yesterday, our tactical reports used 17 different measurement systems from 17 different worlds. Today, everyone is using the same measurements without even discussing it." Jae-hwan nodded in amazement. "It is like we never really separated, like we were just taking a break from being together." Admiral Hana stood in the observation deck with grandmother Sun-hee, watching young people from different worlds working side by side, laughing together as they prepared weapons and repaired ships. "The Dominion thinks our scattering made us weak," Hana said. Sun-hee smiled. "They do not understand that sometimes you must break apart before you can become truly whole." The human fleet was ready. 50,000 people from 34 worlds, united by something stronger than distance or time. They were ready to show the galaxy what happened when humanity came home to itself. The battle began when 2 suns rose over the dead star system. Admiral Hana stood on the bridge of United Hope and watched the Dominion fleet approach. 800 alien ships moved in perfect formation, confident in their overwhelming numbers. "All ships, this is Admiral Hana," she announced on the fleet-wide communication channel. "Today we do not fight as separate colonies. We fight as one family. We fight as humanity." The response came from 239 ships at the same time. "We are one." The Dominion's first mistake was thinking this would be a normal space battle. As their ships moved closer, the human fleet seemed to simply disappear from their sensors. "Where did they go?" demanded Battle Commander Krexter as his detection systems showed empty space where a massive fleet had been moments before. His answer came from everywhere at once. Human ships appeared from behind asteroids, from above and below, from directions that should have been impossible. The Ironhold battlecruisers materialized from stealth fields created by new silicon technology. Their weapons were powered by energy cells designed by the mining colonies. Their targeting systems had been improved by the farming worlds who understood how to predict movement patterns. But the real surprise came from Dr. Sujin's bioweapons. She had spent months adapting the crystal plant technology from Sarang to work against alien equipment. The bioweapons did not hurt the aliens themselves, but they made their technology stop working. "Impossible!" Fleet Commander Vorthak shouted, as his flagship's systems began failing. "These primitives were scattered across the galaxy. How are they working together like this?" His answer came from an unexpected source. An open communication from the human fleet. Grandmother Sun Hee's voice, calm and strong, spoke to both fleets. "Because you never understood what family means," she said simply. The battle's real test came when Dominion reinforcements arrived. 2,000 more ships, the core of their military power, came to crush the human rebellion once and for all. Instead, they found something no one in the galaxy had ever seen before. Perfect coordination between forces that had never fought together, but fought as if they shared one mind. Captain Siri led Ironhold fighters in dangerous attacks that cleared paths for New Eden's supply ships to rescue damaged human vessels. Engineer Minji's stealth ships provided information that allowed Outer Rim raiders to strike at exactly the right moments. Every human ship, every human crew member, fought not as individuals but as parts of one great organism. The Waterworld crews used their knowledge of fluid dynamics to predict how the alien ships would move. The mining colony ships used their experience with dangerous work to perform impossible rescue missions. The farming world people used their understanding of growth patterns to coordinate the fleet's movements like a living thing. The Dominion had conquered 1,000 worlds by keeping their enemies separated and afraid. They had never faced an enemy that became stronger when it came together. When Vorthak's flagship finally exploded, his last message to Dominion High Command was simple. They fight as one mind in 10,000 bodies. They cannot be defeated because they cannot be divided. After the battle, as human crews worked together to repair ships and help the wounded, something beautiful happened. The languages that had grown apart on different worlds began to blend back together. Words from New Silicon mixed with phrases from Ironhold. Songs from the farming worlds combined with work chants from the mining colonies. Dr. Changmin, watching young people from different planets laughing together as they fixed damaged equipment, made a note. Human language evolution appears to have retained common roots that allow rapid reintegration when populations reunite. But Grandmother Sun Hee, now 95 and tired but happy, understood it more simply. She sat with Admiral Hana in the observation area, watching the combined human fleet work together. "We were never really scattered," she told Hana. "We were just growing, becoming more than we could have been in one place." Hana nodded, looking at ships from dozens of worlds working together, as if they had never been apart. The Dominion saw our scattering as weakness. They never understood that sometimes a family has to spread out before it can become truly strong. 3 months later, the liberation of conquered human worlds began. It was fast, efficient, and perfectly coordinated. Every freed colony immediately joined the growing human alliance, adding their own knowledge and strength to the whole. The galaxy watched in amazement as humanity changed from scattered refugees to a unified space power in less than 1 year. Other species began asking for friendship with these remarkable people who had turned their greatest weakness into their greatest strength. But the real story was simpler than politics or military strategy. Young pilot Jin Woo from New Silicon married engineer Mi Young from Ironhold, and their children grew up speaking words from both worlds. Farmer In-ho from New Eden taught farming methods to the sterile laboratory worlds, while learning their advanced science. The warriors of Ironhold discovered they could learn much from the diplomats of Pacifica. Humanity had been scattered among the stars as desperate refugees fleeing a dying world. They returned as one people, not because they had forgotten their differences, but because they had learned that their differences made them stronger together than any of them could be alone. When the old Earth songs were sung now, they were sung in harmony by voices from 40 different worlds. The words were sometimes different, but the melody was always the same. The melody of home, the melody of family, the melody of humanity, scattered among the stars but never truly apart.